When we ask ourselves, why do I feel this particular way when I'm engaging or looking into a quote unquote different culture, or if I'm listening to a certain style and genre of music with the particular timbre of each instrument and voice involved with it, it just seems it takes me to this different place. And you know, sometimes you may feel it because this you just know this person's other world, like has been multiple places in the world, perhaps the artists themselves. So maybe they're just bringing some of that feel, that signature of mood and emotion into their creation, or just to their expression and performance, or you just feel different, right? That novel feeling, or just seems foreign to your normal baseline conscious state, if you want to call it that, for lack of a better terminology and phraseology and whatnot. But if I am getting clear to you here, I'm basically just talking about these different spirits and moods of that we can feel, and feeling, and all this again, just for lack of a better word, is the only way I can try to describe this, and I hope you're following. If you don't believe in God, where does this come from? Okay, you might say, well, this person's of a particular culture, their genre is, sounds like this particular culture must come from this culture. Okay, where does it come from, the culture? Oh, it's like the culture. Now, you're receiving this input, this stimuli, through vibrations of the air, of the person singing. Let's just stick to music. It comes through various other things, like just someone who talks in general, perhaps reads poetry, someone who makes art, a particular style of art, any of this. So it's either colors, images, things received by the eye. Now let's just stick to music though for this instance. What is music? Well, you may see the musicians and the artists and whatnot, but you mainly are feeling and going to receive this feeling, expecting it through the medium of sound. What is sound? It's vibration of the air. Okay, why is there all these different tones in music, different like color, and pitches and whatnot? Okay, it's just the different way that vibration is being received. The air's just being vibrated in that very particular way on a level we can't see, and it's like metaphysical. Okay, great. So the very particular noise or sound that I'm hearing, either out of the voice or the different instrumentation, voices or instrumentation, is from that thing that is vibrating the air in a very specific particular way, and we can pick up and distinguish those things. And obviously, like whenever the noises come together, it creates a full thing. You have to pick and choose what you want to listen to if you're trying to intentionally listen to the very specific instrument. But obviously, it comes together and just feels like one thing, and then you like are just following and listening more to the mood and the feelings that it produces. But right now, I'm talking about what it's made of. So, if this is the truth about what music is, as dynamic as it is, and as many different places, so to speak, as it could bring us, how does it do this? What's behind that? The brain and its interaction with what you're saying, the culture, the sort of origin of the influence? Or was it just there first? Is it something that's just like part of like the memory of your own mind, or is it like you're tapping into a sort of memory of like of like sort of more of an older memory of some sort of collective mind, if we want to say that. I'm trying to be careful with saying, I don't want to give you any ideas, because like what I'm trying to say is that this is, I'm, I hope I'm getting you to realize we don't actually know why that's the actual experience. Of course, if you don't believe in God. That's what someone who doesn't believe in God, I mean, they can have all these explanations, but it ultimately just ends up like we have to realize like, well, no one is actually going to be right. But someone who says it's from God it just makes more sense that way, and it's like you're being just more correct by the mere fact that you are accrediting it to something that makes much more sense. Saying it's something that you just don't know, and that it just is what it is. It's just self-evident. That it propounds a lot of additional like mysteries, or like that you're just negating for your own, because you don't want to try to challenge this any further. You just want to keep on feeling that music, man. Like you just want to keep on enjoying that drug of like what music produces. Well, I'm sorry to say, it's like when music loses its purpose of what it's actually, if it just doesn't have a purpose to begin with. I mean, so you're just merely listening to it as an inoculum. Okay, well, then if you can appreciate music, experience music without letting it get too religious or too idolizing or too tribalistic, or you like the thing is, can you control where your mind goes when listening to it? See, this is where it gets dangerous, and why I think it's important to make you understand what this is and why your belief does matter. So I try to talk to you on a level that we can maybe find mutual understanding. But now I have to kind of come in and now represent why I think belief does truly make a big difference, and I'm meaning for the future of this world, the trajectory of this world, even, because the music industry is big, and so many people are about music, and it influences their decisions even, and their lives, to the point where their free will is even like affected by it. And that's where it can become a problem. The culture that gets produced out of it too is just another is just a more obvious issue. But I want to talk to you on a level that is actually speaking to you as an individual who's experiencing his life just like me, and we see all this going on. I'm the first to say, like, okay, our words that we use to describe what we're observing, those are only words. It's not law. It's not an exact language and descriptions and definitions within are not an exact science, and they're not even exactly or precisely representing that thing we're observing. And ever more so, when we're talking about this specific sort of ontology or experience. And again, I'm only using words just to keep us on track, because I already made it clear that I know that words fall short or aren't necessarily exact. So your words that you would use to criticize me right now when I'm trying to use words is also not exact. So obviously I'm meaning for you to have a well-balanced interpretive lens. or interpretive mind right now, where you're like that should be enough right there. Like don't state the obvious, because I'm only just stating that thing about words because it's not so obvious sometimes. And you can't use it against me because that defeats the purpose. I'm not defeating the purpose. It's only whenever you say that it defeats the purpose of what I'm saying. And what I'm explaining here is even talking about defeating the purpose when it comes to music. So if we follow that logic I was talking about earlier about what music is, perhaps now we can really truly question what we are, what our experiences, why we're experiencing what we're experiencing, and where it comes from, etc. And why our belief matters. So I have to say this because I think it's time that we, stand our ground as believers for sure, but I'm trying to talk to the individual, and I already made that clear. If you're forgetting everything I just said, go back to it, because it's like basically I've stated some axiomatic things there that you can't deny, and you're just trying to target through bias what I just said there. It just goes to show that you're not, that's not like how you should be. Like, it's just losing track and defeating the purpose of this conversation. So, and also progress in general. And if you want to question that, well, if I inspired you to even question through that lens and saying like, oh, well, I am serving my purpose. I'm actually serving the purpose of keeping and maintaining diversity. Well, I have a lot more to say towards that. That will just take this conversation off track. We're talking about music. I might as well stay in the phrase that I'm in the movement that I'm in. I don't know if that would be considered a bridge or an outro or some sort of, I don't know what you call that in musical terms. It's like a piece that's not really related at all, but it's just like kind of there for whatever reason. It's more like an intermezzo. That's like just an intermezzo. So I'm just ultimately trying to say from the mere fact that we can't actually truly distinguish where this is coming from, us coming to the agreement that this is of God's creation in general seems like a really good choice. Just imagine the possibilities within music that opens up to this. It's not hard to believe God created this. He created He created the ability of vibrations, and vibrations of different nature and different timbre being created within air. And in this air, if we look at the evolution of the planet, how this air just all of a sudden gets created, and we get created through, however it happened, right? I mean, obviously, if you're still not following me here, you're still not, believing in God. If you're not a believer, it's like you then believe in abiogenesis, which doesn't really make sense. Non-living matter becoming living. And you can't just say it's all living, because what is guiding it to begin with? What is guiding the living aspects of even the non-living fundamental elements that make up living things? No matter where you go at it, you don't get to the bottom of it. And I think that's by design. God did that by design. But ever more so, it now, like, going back to this discussion, I could see that music as a whole could become such a less corruptible, adulterated, even somewhat defiling source that causes it causes enough problems. Well, maybe I won't say it that way. I'll just say there is too much of a potential that it can cause problems, and people. And think about the long run too. Like people who believe, these artists that they follow, and the lyrics they're making. I mean, there's so much bad lyrics out there, and even if the lyrics aren't necessarily bad, they're just maybe just like not even like there's not no substance to it or depth. Or it's just like this person's just trying to be too poetic, and it's like it just is only like just still the expression of the same thing that's always been around. Yet they're like almost trying to make people think that it's them who are producing it and generating it. That's a huge problem actually that I should talk about right now. I feel like musicians, this gift of God where we could produce music, it is truly being corrupted because the music industry shifted to then where we have all these pop stars, all these artists who are faces and personas, and now it's taking away what was there to begin with and saying, oh, this artist is responsible for this. They're the reason why you're feeling this way. They're the reason why you're noticing this or having this experience. I think that's just so wrong. I think it defeats the purpose of music. It's an affront to music. Let alone the nonsense garbage of their personal lives that's then released through media outlets and pollutes people's minds even further because they're like almost on an unconscious level idolizing this person. I wouldn't use idolizing. They're giving this person too much power of influence over their mind and their will. More so their mind and the way they think. I would hope it's not their will, but it probably is. Listen, what I'm saying here, those who react to this, who are like in the industry and whatnot, there might be something wrong with you on a deeper level that you can't even see because you got too caught up with the glittering and the glitz and glam of your lifestyle. And this illusion of self, an illusion of your experience and what you think it is. You aren't the source. You are an experiencer. And it includes everyone involved, right? It's all the other people who play instruments as well. They can have, even though if they're not like being interviewed as much, and they but they still have their personal lives, and they still have a free will where they have to make the right decisions in their lives. So this is one of the main things I am so. I mean, I can't even begin to list everything that I can say about this, about how I feel about this. But what I'm saying, I just know is based on a very firm foundation. It's like you can't deny what I'm saying, because at that rate, you're just more of a deceiver. And you're like trying to take away the credit of music itself. And you're making it about yourself at that rate. Given how fundamental and elemental what I'm talking about is. If you were to try to argue against it, it's just, that's deception on that kind of level, because you're literally denying this fundamental thing that I am pointing out, and I know for a fact is not yours. You're not owner of it. And I'm talking about the very fundamental things of experience that people get out of music. You are not the owner of that. And the less people try to claim ownership of this beautiful thing we call music, the more just acceptable it could become by more people, and the more love could be shared. It's just more shareable at that rate, because then we see that there's a common ground. It's like a level of the playing field. Like, okay, great, you're the performer, sure, you deserve what you deserve for that effort. But the moment that it starts creeping into that sort of area where now it's like you're almost saying that you're the sole reason, that's just not good. It's not good music. So this is me saying this out of my love for music and my love for God. And I just want people listening, because I really truly think I am speaking towards such specific things at a point where it's like anyone who's listening to this, anytime they're going out to listen to music and stuff, they at least have this sort of different idea about it, where now it's like, maybe it'll make them want to dance more. It'll make them like even just be just more happy to be alive, and to not like let the music, like even let sort of like insecurities creep in as much, and you actually are just more there for the music only, not necessarily to escape yourself and how you feel because of how you're, how much like busyness is in your life, and hope, unfortunate suffering that might be in it. You see what I'm saying? It's like it could change the cycle of thought in every single individual to actually reproduce and put into a feedback a more beneficial, it makes a more beneficial feedback loop in each individual, let alone what all that kind of amounts to in the sort of collective effect of each person coming and congregating to a specific show or whatnot. I truly believe this. I went to school for music, actually. I did a minor in it. And I learned quite a bit. And it's just like I realized, like, whenever you think about music theory and all that kind of stuff, it's like, that's what music actually is. And maybe I shouldn't have said this, because this just can maybe somewhat activate some people and thinking that it's, I'm being just somewhat of a snob or something about music. It's like, I've never been a snob. Like, I'm just trying to like say that I actually understand a little bit more, and that's the only reason why I'm saying this. So I'm hoping this speaks to you and says that, you are, yes, like what you're experiencing is something that is real, but don't let yourself become a slave to it. Jesus says you could only serve two masters. Why can't we just serve one? Why can't we just serve Jesus and serve God? We can all serve one master and still experience the music and appreciate it. But then we just keep our own egos that are so fallible and falsifiable out of it.